superintendent, are we ready to build that middle school? Pablo Lopez, who worked at the Fresno League, he asked the question of the superintendent. Are you going to have a school built, a middle school built? The superintendent said, did you hear what the trustee said? So I'm committed to West Fresno. I graduated from Edison High School in 1956. My grandkids graduated from Edison High School, and all of them are in college. And it's all about how do we engage our parents? How do we assume responsibility for ourselves? We all are responsible for our children. And when we think about our children, many times we get hung up on what is called, a deal is called, we want our kids to play through the academic kinds of things. And I saw a lady in here this evening who was volunteering her time, couldn't get any of our kids to stay after school or come in on Saturday because she was volunteering to do tutoring. Because some of the parents said, my kids are in school all day and they're tired. So what I'm saying to you, we all have that responsibility. Brother Jameson, he gave a good sermon on the information up there on the board. And we all realize that we have a need here in Southwest Fresno. And we have a need, we have good teachers who are sensitive to our children. And I know that when people sit and they clap their hands, many times, I was at a meeting just 2 weeks ago, talking with some individuals at the Skater Center. They asked me, that's not my area, but I was there because I was on the school board. The following week, they came to the school board and talked. They were saying that many times you find teachers who are really not concerned. Also, you hear the statement that my teacher is not really concerned about him. Right now, I'm working with a young man who is a 504. When we talk about the emotional kinds of things, the individual is not getting the best service. So I want to know who is the psychologist, who is the emotional person. I don't want to have that name for that individual because I want to take it to the board so that we can deal with that issue. So whatever questions you have for me, I'm open.
Questions from the audience?
Okay, so this is how we're going to do this to make sure that we have order. At the end of the day, this is a church, and at the end of the day, I'm the shepherd of this church. So there will be no disrespect, there will be no talking out of turn. We will respect, because at the end of the day, whoever's asking the questions, all the questions are pointing to one person who is on top. And at times, that could be a dagger that is thrown at him that I will not allow to happen. All right, but I will be sure Mr. Johnson has already agreed that he will answer all the questions, but I need you to respect when he answers the question. Allow him to talk. Allow him to speak. Do not cut him off while he is speaking, or I'm going to ask you to kindly remove yourself. At the end of the day, this is not a hall, this is a church. And I need you to respect that this is a church. Is that okay with everybody? Here's how we'll do this. We have a 20-minute grace period in order to do the question and answering. And if we do not get to your question, do not have an attitude. Still ask the question, because God will hear your question and He'll give you an answer. We just won't get it today. Okay? So if you have a question, we're going to get you as soon as possible. Please ask your question. Do not make a comment or do a long story or sermon. Simply ask your question so we can allow Mr. Johnson to answer that question, okay? Okay, do we have a question? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Mr. Johnson. You and I know each other pretty well. My name is Janelle Lehman. I'm a credentialed school nurse with the district. And as Tish mentioned, we have 65 elementary schools, about 16 middle schools, 7 comprehensive high schools, 6 specialized high schools. actually over 100 schools in the district serving 73,000 students with only 38 credentialed school nurses, including myself. This comes out to about one credentialed school nurse, which, by the way, is the only nurse defined by the Ed Code to serve our students in the district. Okay, one nurse per 1,921 students. What is your plan to remedy this situation, to improve that statistic, to better serve our students in the district? Thank you.
Mr. Johnson.
Well, we're working on that, and as a matter of fact, one of the bargaining things that the union had talked about in terms of nurses, I think it was nurses, some other people, and we put some, I think it was some $15 million, I think, I'm not sure, but whatever it was, we will be working towards that to, resolve those kinds of problems.
Next question. My dear, please stand if you wouldn't mind. And we'll get to you, my dear, right in the back, okay?
Hello, Mr. Johnson. I'm a teacher at Fresno School. My question is, why did you vote to pay for the superintendent's legal fees using our tax dollar money?
Mr. Johnson.
Your question, are we paying the superintendent's legal fees? No, we're not paying his legal fees.
So the question is if you voted to pay his legal fees, why were his legal fees paid by our tax dollars?
His legal fees are not being paid by our tax dollars.
So the question was, Mr. Johnson, was that the legal fees from what the impression was paid by our tax dollars, they were not paid by the tax dollars or voted by you to be paid for. Do you know where that was paid from, sir?
You're asking who is paying his legal fees?
Yes, sir.
He's paying his own legal fees.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Next question I have, my dear, in the back with the hat on. Let's go to her real quick. Let's go to her in the back, and then I'll walk to her. My dear, please.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Boland. I'm an instructor at Fresno City College. This student data is alarming. I must also add that once many Fresno Unified School students arrive at Fresno City College, they are not prepared. In fact, employers have written letters saying how disappointed, surprised, and shocked they are at the limited readiness of these students.
I need your question, my dear.
Here it is. Mr. Johnson, how do you explain the increase in graduation rates juxtaposed to the fact that only 2% of our students are college ready and the reaction of these employers?
That is information that says that there are only 2%, but it's my understanding that that information is somewhat erroneous. And I don't know for a fact whether it is or not. That is my honest answer.
My dear, does that satisfy your question?
Good evening, Mr. Johnson. I have that question for you. I think it's very nice. I graduated from here and I left like he did. I didn't come back here. But here's a question I have for you. What does it take from the community to help you do your job in a better way?
So the question, Mr. Johnson, is what can the community do to help you do your job, and even do a better job than what's being done now?
Okay. I think that if we can engage our children, if we can make sure that our children are spending their time turning the TVs off and during 2 to 3 hours after school, I think that would help.
Is there anything else, Mr. Johnson, the community can do to help you?
Thank you for being here, Mr. Johnson. I am Ms. Savito from Jefferson. My teachers want to know, do you support lowering our class sizes? I've been teaching for 19 years. I've been teaching 30 to 36 kids every year, from kinder all the way to 4th. Do you support lowering our class sizes?
Good question.
Right now, I understand that the governor is 1 to 24, and we are ahead of that. And I know that the union was saying that it was greater than that, and I heard someone say, well, there are 35 or 40 kids in a classroom, and I understand that you're dealing with that in terms of averages.
But as a classroom teacher, it's not, it is an average. One class might have 28, I'm still sitting at 33 with no aid, no parent help. I am a downtown school, my kids are very smart, they work very hard. I have 6 tablets. How do I get to all my kids? That I need help. I don't know.
I think that was a question that a lot of teachers and parents both are asking. Do you support the lowering of class sizes?
Assuming that the budget can take care of that, then I can support that. Right now, we're talking about a 5% salary increase plus 2%, and then talk about the reduction in terms of the class size. All of that entails dollars.
Well, what I'm wondering, Mr. Johnson, is do you support it?
Assuming that the money was there, and assuming that the money is there, then you can do that. But if the money is not there, and if we're talking about 7% pay increase and reduce the class size, all of that means that we hire more teachers. More teachers.
Perfect.
My name is John Bath. I'm a teacher at Sunnyside High, and I'm going to have to ask one more question before I ask that, and that is, as part of negotiations with Fresno Unified, I'm very well aware that we hadn't had a raise in a long time, and that 5% you're talking about worked out $15 million for this year. $15 million is what the teachers asked for their salary. We got $150 million new dollars. And so far tonight, I've heard a lot about how this whole introduction about how it's the teacher's fault. I have been a teacher at Fresno Unified for 15 years. Yes, I'm sorry, but I spent many hours on this, sir. Okay, I'll get to it. I went to Fresno Unified's LCAT meetings, the first one. There were 4 people there. By law, you're always supposed to listen to the community. At that meeting, they presented the community this is what we're doing. They didn't even take notes. FGA went and met all over the city. I think over hundreds of people. We put together a big plan, and we're saying put money in places, safety, social emotional support. This is not even money for us. Instead, what we see in the paper are these shiny new schools, these fancy new programs, continue on all that. I don't ever recall the city of Fresno saying we're looking for entrepreneur high school. I don't ever recall it. I've been here in CTE for 15 years. I have to tell you, I see that you're completely out of touch with what the people and the teachers have been saying. Really? Explain why you think the teachers are the problem. And if you don't think they're the problem, why don't you accept our survey results that say we need lower class sizes? You're dismissing it. You haven't been willing to meet with us at all. Why won't you meet with us? Why won't you work with us?
What we're talking about right now, we're talking about a negotiation.
No, sir. No, sir.
Yes. That is a negotiation deal. It's not. We have a negotiation team that deal with the union on all of those issues. Okay, and then another thing, when you say that you haven't had a raise in how long?
2008 was the last time.
2008. But you know that was the reason for it. If it was 2008, was because how long the union was carrying on their negotiations. And you got all retroactive payment.
Okay, hear me. What I would like to be sure is in order for us to get to it, I know, listen. Pastor Carter knows, Pastor Keeter knows, my deacons know, Sister Mona, who's a member of this church, knows how we feel about you all. But in order for us to be able to hear everyone, and in order for Mr. Johnson to address everything that's being thrown at him, because that's a lot that's being thrown, trust me, I'm not pastor of the church. In order for that to be done, you have to give respect. The answers may not be to your liking, but please respect the fact that he's here to address those questions, okay? Can you do that for me, please? I want to make sure we continue this, but it has to be done in a respectful manner, okay? Yes, ma'am.
I'm Board Member Johnson. I'm Wanda Hemet. I was a graduate of Carver when I was here, also a graduate of Western Grove, and then graduated from Edison High School. My question is, I think there's a need for more social workers at the schools. Mental health is a big issue now with our children. Is the board addressing the issue of getting more social workers? You probably only need 2 psychiatrists, but social workers can address this issue maybe at an earlier age with these young people instead of them getting a track record of being bad or whatever. And I'm just wondering if the school board entertaining the mental health issues in the school district.
Good question.
We were addressing the emotional kinds of things right? And so we understand the emotional needs of our children, and we know that our children have many problems because we see the acting out on the campuses. Just as an example, a couple of weeks ago, last week, one of our principals was attacked by someone off the campus. So we know that there is a need for that. And your question is, what are we going to do? I said that we realize that there is a need for that.
So is there, I think her question is yes, sir. Will there be anything done about the need for mental health counselors and to address the need of mental illness on our campuses?
And I would say that we will address that. And I'm saying there's a need. I said there's a need for that. I said that we will address that.
Will it be addressed before the next year?
Oh, it will be brought to the board before the next year.
It will be brought to the board before the next year?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. All right. Here, and then I see Mr. Miller. Yes, ma'am.
Ok, buenas tardes. Estaban hablando de lo que ganan los maestros. A mi saber, los maestros del Distrito Unificado de Fresno son los que mejor son pagados en el estado de California. Yo no estoy de acuerdo. Yo no digo que no les paguen más, simplemente que también queremos nosotros como padres maestros calificados para nuestros hijos, porque ellos son los que están en los salones de clase y depende de la educación de ellos para nuestros hijos. Yo no, tengo una pregunta para el señor. ¿Por qué se les dieron 2.5 millones de dólares a los niños aprendices de inglés? A mí se me hace muy poquito dinero.
She wants to know why is it that English learners only receive $2.5 million from the budget. She thinks that's extraordinarily low.
I think that we talked about that last night, and I don't really remember the exact number that we talked about in terms of the number, but we are addressing that.
So that particular item will be is being addressed, am I correct?
Yes, last night, it was for English learners. We were talking about moms and Hispanics. I'd just like to throw this out too. Since we're talking about all that, a few years ago we were talking about, not only are we talking about English learners and moms, but there's a problem with African Americans speaking standard English also. So we might have to look at that. And how do we go about putting money into that kind of a program? So we all need to think about that, because there was a move for that and in the state, and that was killed off. Think about that.
Darren Miller, a longtime educator and product of the President of the Bible. This is not my question. I didn't draft this question, so I'm going to read the question and I'm going to read the content. The question says, when Hansen started as superintendent, there was almost an immediate decrease in the number of African-American principals. Why and what is being done now to correct this? And what I want to add into this is that not only is there no African-American male site principals at President Bank, there's never been a long male site principal. And given the data that we've seen up here with, we didn't show the graduation data, but that the percentage of African-American males and long males are the highest non-graduating percentages. I would like to know, why is there an absence of male role models on these particular schools who cook with this, and what exactly is being done to correct that?
We are addressing addressing that. And as a matter of fact, we've had vice principals in middle schools, one, I think. And also that we had a PhD that we were about to hire, but he backed out. Okay? And as a matter of fact, when we were in Wisconsin, I was trying to recruit people and individuals there in Wisconsin. They said, well, tell us where we can get some Africans, American principals. They are difficult to find. Can I say this, Mike? When we had discussion regarding that.
I'm not allowed to do follow-up, so I will accept your answer.
Okay.
Buenas tardes. ¿Sí me escuchan? Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Rosalba, vengo de Adams, comunidad Adams. Quiero preguntarle a usted, señor, si en verdad los padres contamos con la ayuda de la mesa directiva. ¿Los padres contamos para las decisiones que toman ustedes o no? Porque a lo que yo veo en lo que está, no toman nuestras opiniones como padres, simplemente dicen esto se hace y se hizo. Quiero que me responda eso, por favor.
So she is a parent from Adams, and she wants to know if leadership will actually listen to the parents instead of them always telling the parents what they want to do. She wants to know, can she count on you for support of the actual parents?
Your question was, why do we listen to the parents as opposed to, are you talking about the removal, if you will, or transfer of that person?
Sorry.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
asking if the parents, their voices heard. If our voice counts, basically, if what we ask you to do, are you going to actually do it, or are you going to listen to what we're saying, is what she's asking.
You know, when you talk about principals, those are administrative positions. And when you have administrative positions, the board doesn't make those decisions. Those decisions are made by the person that we supervise, and that is the superintendent.
She's asking in general, does the parent's voice count? Do you take that into consideration, is what she's asking. My question's a different one, but go ahead and answer hers, please.
Do we listen to parents?
Yes.
Sure, we listen to parents at times. You see, what you're asking me, if you come and ask for something that is administratively, then they make administrative decisions. We don't make those administrative decisions.
So you have no decision on that, you have no voice on that? Okay, let me ask my question. Mr. Johnson, I'm a parent from Adams Elementary, which is a feeder school from Gaston and Edison. We recently asked for your support to keep Mr. Scott our principal at Adams. We submitted a petition of over 450 parents, and over 100 families went to the board meeting. Can we count on you for your support to ask Hanson and the other board members to keep Mr. Scott at Adams?
She's saying do not transfer that many to the other school.
We're asking your support as a board member.
As a board member, I realize that that is an administrative decision.
Okay, we have a question over here. My dear has been raising her hand for a while, and at the conclusion of it, our councilman has a question, comment that you would like to make.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson, for being here tonight. I'm a teacher in Fresno Unified and have been for 17 years. I see that there's a great shortage of teachers, and I know that Fresno Unified is doing a lot to recruit teachers to come to Fresno Unified. What is your plan to retain the teachers that we already have and encourage new teachers who come here to want to stay?
pay that we have for our teachers. It's the best on the valley floor. And in the long range, our teachers make more money than many other teachers. And that was a report that was put out by, I guess it was put out by Pew folks, pointing that out. We do everything that we can to keep good teachers. And on the other hand, for teachers who are not doing their job, we will try to help them become better teachers. So we do everything that we can to try to retain them.
Mr. Chris, and then we have one in the back over here who has the mic already up. We have about 5 more minutes, all right? And then we need to move on to some action items because here at our church we preach complaining is not a solution. So we need to find some solutions, amen? Even if you don't go to church, say it anyway, amen?
Okay, good evening, Mr. Jensen. My name is Rosalina Carson, and I'm from Jane Addams Elementary. But I got my kids Edison, and like you representative of that region, we're really asking you for the support for the region that you're supposed to be supporting. Okay? I did call you one time when my son had a problem in a fight, and that's cool. And also, he was having problems in middle school. Okay? And I did call you, and I called the guy, the representative of the Army, like, for discipline, and I have no call from you guys at all. So what I'm seeing that you guys don't support at all. Once you have a case, you listen to the parents. And also I'm asking you for the support for the son. It's not that lady, it's the principal from that school. Thank you.
What school is he from? Adams, sir. Have you called one of our trustees?
A lot of support. Need more personnel to support teachers, principals, because they can't do the job. It's a lot of fights. Well, it was because.
And this is not Jane Adams?
No, Edison.
Edison?
Yes. But I'm from the community of Adams.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you so much. Mr. Johnson, do you have a response, sir?
Oh. You said there are a lot of fights at Edison High School? Well, I wasn't really aware of all of that.
Good evening, Mr. Johnson. I'm glad that you're here to speak with us. I'm a teacher at Edison High School, and I've been there for the past 16 years. And I guess my concern, my question is as a trustee, being elected by the members of the body of this community, how do you get input from them, from the teachers, from the parents, from the students, in terms of how you direct this district and where it needs to go in terms of making it better for the students? You open up middle school and you pride yourself on that. That middle school is a premier school, but when they get to Edison, the services that they receive there are far less than they receive at Gaston High School. I don't think that's fair. From the people that elected you to office to do your job and running this district in a way that supports them and their needs.
Well, I try to visit schools, and I try to listen to what teachers say to me. And I do go to classrooms. I go to schools that walk up those steps. They make it to school, and I go to Kirk, and I go to King. So I do visit these schools, and I do listen to people.
But how do you implement that into the government and running of this district?
Oh, and how do you do that? When you talk about this as an issue, you talk about, I bring to the board, talk about the need for hiring a principal, African-American principals, Hispanic principals, and other principals. I do that. And I don't bite my tongue when I'm in the back room with our people. I'm not the kind of person like we have some people that when we have confidential things, when you're talking about, somebody's talking about the money, putting money up there, we don't talk about those things in the executive session. But some people do. And when we talk about listening to individuals, some individuals, you saw their picture in the paper, and I didn't see their name up there when they were betting or bidding on the project when they should be bidding on projects. You'll pick that up.
Pastor Peter in the back, and then we'll try to wrap this up.
My name is David Peter. I pastor at Mount Pleasant Baptist Church on East San Joaquin. My wife is a teacher at the Seminary Middle School, so she couldn't be here tonight. So I want to be her voice. I'm going to be a good voice for her. So let me just suggest this. I've watched what she's done in the last 10 months of being a teacher in this district. And her complaint is not with the board necessarily, and here's why, and it's based on a question. As the head of the board, trustee, are you actually in control of enforcing all the stuff that the parents are complaining about? Whose job is it to enforce and make sure that our concerns are heard and taken care of? Is it you or is it the superintendent that's supposed to be on it?
Great question.
The board is a policy-making board, and the superintendent, he has the employees. The superintendent is our employee, and the superintendent, he dictates to them. The superintendent carries out what we ask him to carry out.
Thank you, sir. Councilman.
Thank you, Pastor, for giving me a couple minutes. I understand the last question. I'm going to stand next to you. I'm going to stand next to you because you can take me when I'm done. Well, can I make a second? Thank you. Sat here and I just went from council, so forgive me for being late. Education is a fundamental issue in our community. I agree with that. I'm so very glad to see this turnout. I can tell you when I call a town hall meeting, all you guys come to my meetings, but I'm so glad to see that you guys came out here tonight. And I want to make sure, just from my perspective, I'm not a school board trustee, I'm not a superintendent, I'm not a member of the FTA, but I care very deeply about education in our community. And I can tell you that while this is good for the trustee to stand here and you all are asking the questions, when we saw those statistics up on the prompter a moment ago, education is more than just what the trustee can do and what questions he can answer. Education is about not only the trustee, the superintendent, and the teachers, it's about our community as a whole. And I'm hoping, and I'm prayerful, your house, Pastor, I'm going to stand next to you, that the overall discussion has not been lost in pointing all the blame on our trustee right here for where our education system is right now in relationship to our students in Fresno Unified. There should be more people up here answering these questions other than our good friends. Quite frankly, I think our teachers should be up here asking questions, answering questions. I think our superintendent should be up here answering questions. It should be more than everything. So my question, Pastor, as you asked me to get to, my question is, can we bring more people to this discussion tonight, right now, and have our audience ask them questions as well as all of our trustees?
So while I appreciate the council member suggesting that this meeting turn into something different than we scheduled, since there's a cake for the food and put this event together, if he wants to have a separate meeting, he can certainly put it together. keep it 100 up in here. I'm glad we're in Downtown.